All right, what's going on, y'all? We're back again, and on a not as somber note, at least. Just unfortunate to have to talk about that situation regarding Ronnie Hillman's passing in a previous video. Although, real quick, before I go into the details about this, I know I'm kind of off the rails with the openings on these videos right now, but I just wanted to point out a couple of things I neglected to mention. One of which was an omission to the story that I was telling, because I had mentioned when it came to how I found out about Franco Harris yesterday morning, which was to my alarm waking me up to get ready for work. I'm like having that groggy feeling, like, I don't want to wake up. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I know y'all go through it too. Some of y'all do. But anyway, I'm just at that point, and that's where I hear that, and like again, that's where my eyes popped wide open in shock, from finding out about that from Franco Harris. And it's real interesting because, I would go, as I'm going to get ready, I wound up mentioning that they just announced that Franco had passed away to my uncle. And he also had brought to my attention that Ronnie Hillman had been reported to be in hospice because of that rare form of cancer. And I wasn't even aware of that until that point. So, it was just like two forms of tragedy within a day of one another. And it's just insane. But the part of the story I wanted to share is I like to think that many of us are familiar with the iconic alarm clock from Groundhog Day, the one where it flips the numbers and everything. It's just funny because back in the house that we all used to live in back in Colorado Springs, the room that I was sleeping in had a very similar alarm clock to where the minutes, would flip the numbers and everything, and hours and such. And it was funny because the alarm went off on that one morning back in the day, and it was the same thing. I was just pretty much out of it, but of course I'm conscious enough to hear what they're reporting. And it was literally the morning that Lisa Left Eye Lopez had passed away, or that it was reported that Left Eye had passed away, you know. And for me, it's just like all these reports that have happened, like just randomly. I mean, it hasn't been in abundance, but those are literally three classic examples of how that's happened to me. And it's just like, wow, why do I have to find out about this like that? But anyway, I just wanted to get that out there to point out what I missed in the other video. So just wanted to get that out real quick. But anyway, another thing I wanted to point out also as I go into the meat of this is obviously things haven't been so great, and of course it shows for the fact that I've had yet another layoff from producing, and it's just been real tricky. But it really sucks when you make it that much difficult, that much more difficult on yourself, which I'm admittedly guilty of, and just for the fact that, again, as I mentioned in the previous video, that you've had these things happen, because I brought up not just Tillman, but Demarius Thomas and Darren Williams, it just goes to show life is too short, and it's just a matter of me being just done playing around at this point, just on that alone. So I would say certainly expect a lot more moving forward, and I'll be damned if I let up anymore. I'm just going to put it that way. But that being said, we're just going to go on to the big topic of the video here. I wound up finding this out randomly watching a Twitch stream. Shout out to ScoMo. It turns out Sunday Ticket is coming to YouTube, which is fantastic news, especially for creators like myself, or I guess we'll just say now aspiring creators like myself, especially given that I talk a lot about sports, especially football. And it's going to be really huge because I've said before on previous videos, one goal of mine that I want to have is to do regular live reaction streams to games really that was targeted specifically for Broncos games. But maybe we change that up now because we'll be able to have our pick of the litter at this point now. And the best part about it is, especially according to this report on CNBC.com, it's not gonna just be exclusive to YouTube TV. You can actually subscribe to Sunday Ticket without being on the YouTube TV subscription plan, which I love that because having that as a standalone is huge. It really sucked that anyone had to be attached to DirecTV just for that one feature. You know, as great of a feature as it is, pricey as it may be also, you know, I kind of find it a bit of a pain in the you-know-where that actually was a thing, especially just given all the stuff that's gone on with DirecTV, and I guess between them, Dish Network, and apparently Comcast now, who seem to be dropping local networks. It's funny because it turns out that I guess a year or so ago, Dish Network dropped NBC because my grandfather actually subscribes to Dish Network, or at least he did at one point. I'm not sure if he does now, but yeah, he wasn't able to get NBC on his TV anymore. And I'm like, damn. And I told him about Peacock. I'm not sure if he's gone through with that or not, but yeah, if you want Sunday Night Football, that's the way he's going to have to get it. And that seems to be the case with a lot of other things. I saw something during, I believe it was this past Sunday's Broncos game against the Cardinals, where they talked about Comcast dropping Denver Fox 31, which I really can't understand what the incentive behind that is for these entities to drop these networks that we've been getting free for pretty much the history of life, as far as I remember. I mean, maybe somebody can chime in and correct me if I'm missing something on that, but it's just crazy that that's actually a thing. But all the same, that's why something like this is really huge, because now you're able to have Sunday Tickets. So things like what I'm mentioning here with Comcast, DirecTV, Dish Network, and whoever else is on all that bullshit, you know, you don't have to deal with that so much. There are alternatives, easy for me to say, to that, at least where this is concerned. I mean, as far as the programming you get from that, I'm not really sure how that works. I'm guessing that you'd be able to find that through the streaming apps and sites and such. I've played a little bit with that. I know that Fox definitely holds a lot of their various content on that platform as well, and the same rings true for all of the other ones, TNT, CBS, USA, etc., etc. So I guess there's an out with that. I honestly don't know much as far as how that works, other than a little bit of it that I've played with. That's probably not such a good choice of words there, but having navigated through all of that, maybe that's the way to go. I don't know. I mean, that's real hard for me to say, but either way, it's just huge to see this, and it's going to certainly help me out in the long run, and certainly for future content, and, you know, it's only going to go up from here. So at the very least, I have my incentive for keeping things rolling with this. That being said, let me know what you think about this. Do you like the idea of Sunday Ticket being on YouTube TV, or part of YouTube now? I mean, I don't mind it. I see a lot of benefit, and it's going to be huge for content creators all across the board. Why would you say no? That's all I'm going to say is, why would you say no? Either way, with that said, definitely let me know what you guys think down below. Like, share, subscribe if you enjoy. Definitely look forward to seeing you guys down the road. Thanks for having me, and stay tuned.